Hello friends, this is the third video on Alexander Pope's Rape of the Lock. We are talking about Canto 3 here. So in the previous canto, we have seen that Ariel and the Sylphs are protecting Belinda's lock and shock. They don't know what is going to happen, but they know that some calamity is going to happen. In this canto, we will see that her lock is finally cut. Close by those meads, forever crowned with flowers, where Thames with pride surveys his rising towers, there stands a structure of majestic frame. What is that structure? It is Hampton Court. Belinda has travelled through the Thames and reached Hampton Court. And she is thronged by a lot of young ladies and gentlemen. And she is going to have a party there. There stands a structure of majestic frame. From the neighbouring Hampton takes its name. Hampton is a village, neighbouring village, from which the structure takes its name. Here Britain's statesmen oft the fall for doom, or foreign tyrants and of nymphs at home. Here the big statesman, politician of Britain predict for doom the fall of foreign tyrants or the fall of nymphs. They will predict that some foreign governments will fall or some women will fall. That is also zeugma, fall in two ways. Hear thou, great Anna. Anna is Queen Anne, who is ruling at that time, whom 3 realms obey. She is ruling over 3 realms. That means England, Scotland and Wales. You see, in the period of Queen Anne, by the Act of Union of 1707, that was just a few years before this. By the Act of Union of 1707, England, Scotland and Wales had become Great Britain. So, hear thou, great Anna, whom 3 realms obey, dost sometimes counsel take and sometimes take. Sometimes she gets into political discussions at Hampton Court. People advise her. Sometimes she just comes for a tea party. Tea. Hither the heroes and nymphs resort. All the heroes and nymphs that we saw in the previous canto are all coming here to waste a while the pleasures of a court. They are coming here to get some pleasures, courtly pleasures. In various talk, the instructive hours they passed. They spend a lot of time variously talking. Scandal mongering. Instructive hours actually means scandal mongering or gossiping. Who gave the ball and paid the visit last? These are the things they are talking about. Who gave the ball? Who paid the visit last? One speaks the glory of the British Queen and one describes a charming Indian screen. Screen means painting. Or a curtain, tapestry. So, all these they are discussing. A third interprets motions, looks and eyes. Another person is interpreting the gestures and movements of some ladies. At every word, a reputation dies. At every word they speak, somebody's reputation dies. That means they are gossiping. Snuff or the fan. Snuff is used by gentlemen. Fan is used by women. So snuff or the fan supply each pause of chat. Whenever the chat is pausing, there is snuff being taken or fan being fanned with singing, laughing, ogling and all that. Singing, laughing, eyeing one another, all that is happening. Meanwhile, declining from the noon of day, the sun obliquely shoots his burning ray. The sun is now, it is now getting evening. Only in the evening, at night, all the revelry will start. So the sun is slowly moving down, going to set. The hungry judges soon the sentence sign, and wretches hang, that jurymen may dine. Another beautiful satire on the corruption of the judges. Judges are hungry, they are eager to go home. So hungry judges signed the sentence too soon without listening to the trial. They signed the sentence too soon because they are eager to go home and dine, come to the party. And what happens? Wretches, poor people, hang because of their sentence, even though they don't deserve it. The merchant from the exchange returns in peace. So this is a very commercial society. A lot of aspects of the society is being subtly revealed. Colonialism, commercialism. The merchant from the stock exchange kind of exchange returns in peace. He is happy because he has done his corruption for the day. And the long labors of the toilet cease. Toilet means makeup. All the dressing is ending because people are now coming to the balls and parties. So all the people, all the women give up their dressing tables, give up their dressing or makeup and come. Now, Belinda now, whom thirst of fame invites, she's eager for fame. She's thirsty for fame. Belinda burns to encounter two adventurous knights. There are some two men that she is probably flirting with, or two men who are giving her attention. She is longing, burning, it's a sexual word, to encounter those adventurous knights. Adventurous means could be sexual adventures also, because this is making fun of them. At Ombre, singly to decide their doom. She wants to meet the knights and single-handedly she wants to decide their doom. She wants to defeat them and swells her breast with conquests yet to come. All the anticipated triumphs, not only at Umber, but also in love probably. She is thinking of all the conquests yet to come and feeling proud, swelling her breast. Straight the three bands prepare in arms to join. Three groups are all joining. The Belinda's group and the two gentlemen's group. Each band the number of the sacred 9. Each band, each group has 9. That means the number of cards. The band could be the squadrons of cards that are beginning to fight. Each hand consisted of 9 cards, the sacred number of the muses. Soon as she spreads her hand, the aerial guard, that means the Sylphs. I don't mean Ariel the Sylph, but the Sylphs who are in the air. The aerial guard descend and sit on each important card. See how the women and men play Ombre is decided by the Sylphs. The Sylphs were women at once upon a time. When they were women, they loved riding in chariots, and now they love Ombre. So the Sylphs are sitting on the important cards. First, Ariel perched upon a matador. That is one of the most important cards in an Ombre game. So Ariel is perching on a matador. Then each, according to the rank they bore, because they were once women, one always likes rank and power. They want to maintain their position. So the Sylphs are also today doing the same thing. According to the rank they bore, they are sitting. For Sylphs, yet mindful of their ancient race, that means the race of women, are as when women, wondrous fond of place. Place means distinction, rank. Women like distinction, rank, not only for themselves, also they pay attention only to men of distinction and rank. So there is a consistent dig at the aristocratic class. There is a dig at Britain pursuing the colonial, adventures. Then there is the dig at the Rosicrucians, right? So the boat has now reached the shore where stands the Hampton court. This is Hampton court. Even now in England, it is a very important place. Here the Britain's statesmen and great Anna, whom 3 realms obey, have all gathered. All these people come to Hampton court. The statesmen are engaged in the foreign affairs and they are gossiping of women also. Queen Anne sometimes take counsel here or sometimes tea. Here the fashionable men and women gather. They enjoy the pleasures of the court. They start the discussion on various social engagements to pass instructive hours. They discuss all sorts of gossipy, juicy details of life. They discuss Queen Anne. Queen Anne is not getting a child at this time. The Queen Anne is again and again and again trying to get a child, but the Queen Anne is not getting a child at this time, and this is a big problem for the country. So they discuss all these things. They discuss the glory of the British Queen, the fine dressing. It has many meanings. It also means, by suggestion, the inability of the Queen to get children. So he can't directly say this because he'll be beheaded if he says that. And it describes a charming Indian screen, interprets people's movements, looks, glances, especially women's, and they wave their fans and take snuff. And at every word, a reputation dies. And all the hungry judges, corrupt judges, are signing their sentences too soon. And Belinda sits down to play the game of cards with 2 knights. As soon as Belinda spreads her hand of cards, 9 cards are there in her hand. The Sylphs come down and sit on each important card. And Belinda is playing against the Baron and one another knight. The battle, the game is now described, and it is now described as a battle. Behold 4 kings in majesty revered, with hoary whiskers and a forky beard, and 4 fair queens whose hands sustain a flower, the expressive emblem of their softer power. 4 knaves in garbs succinct, a trusty band, caps on their heads and halberds in their hand. The party-coloured troops, a shining train, draw forth to combat on the velvet plain. Wow! It is a game of cards, but it is described as if the whole army is there. The skillful nymph reviews her foes with care, almost like Cleopatra again. She is reviewing her foes. Let spades be trumps, she said, and trumps they were. Now move to war her sable matadors, in show like leaders of the swarthy Moors. Spadilio first, unconquerable lord, led off 2 captive trumps and swept the board. As many more Manilo forced to yield, and marched the victor from the verdant field. Him Basto followed, but his fate more hard, gained but 1 trump and 1 plebeian card. The battle is only beginning. Like that, on and on for 2 more pages, Pope's heroic couplet recreates the battle as if it is really the battlefield. For 2 pages, we have the absolutely magnificent description of the battle. Isn't that awesome? And after this, thus when dispersed, a routed army runs. Thus when dispersed, when all the army is now dispersed. This is a mock epic simile. This is now a mock epic simile. Thus when dispersed, a routed army runs of Asia's troops and Afric's sable sons. Sable means black. With little confusion, different nations fly, of various habit and of various dye, various colors. The pierced battalions disunited fall. In heaps on heaps, one fate overwhelms them all. It is almost like the description of the colonial battle that English Empire, the British Empire, is leading against the rest of the world. In Asia, Africa, the British Empire is defeating them one by one. And one fate of the British Empire, the Britain's fate, overwhelms them all. The defeat of the combined army of Asia and Africa is actually referring to hearts, diamonds and clubs. It was similar to the defeat of the Asians and Africans who came from different nations and wore different clothes of different colors. When they were defeated, they became disunited and were killed in large numbers. This is a mock epic simile. Like in a an epic, there is a simile. So all of them meet with common ruin, all the enemies. English people must have loved this epic simile. Though in the beginning, Belinda was approaching success, soon the Baron takes over. This is how the battle is described. His Queen of Spades beats her King of Clubs, and his cards of diamonds find her remaining cards easy to defeat. He even wins her Queen of Hearts. Belinda turns pale and trembles on the approaching cordil. That means she fears losing the game. She fears that she will lose. Cordil is a term used in the game of Ombre, when the game is lost by the player who challenges to win. That is called cordil. What happens next depends on another move or trick. Another move or trick is what finally changes the course of the battle, and thus she plays the King of Hearts and wins the game. Look at what happens. An ace of hearts steps forth. The king unseen lurked in her hand and mourned his captive queen. He springs to vengeance with an eager pace. She is playing the ace of cards, that is what he means. He springs to vengeance with an eager pace and falls like thunder on the prostrate ace. Belinda wins the game. Belinda shouts out of her success. Look at how Pope is describing it. The nymph exulting fills with shouts the sky. Isn't that amazing? The nymph exulting fills with shouts the sky. The walls, the woods, the long canals reply. That means the echo of her shout is heard everywhere. Wow, so magnificent. Amazing. But the narrator warns her of approaching tragedy. At that time, the narrator, who is a spoil sport, she's so happy and shouting. But the narrator says, "Oh, thoughtless mortals." Typical of the epic. In Paradise Lost also, it happens like this. Something heightened will happen, and then the narrator will intervene and give some comments. "Oh, thoughtless mortals, ever blind to fate, too soon dejected and too soon elate. Sudden these honours shall be snatched away, and cursed forever this victorious day." Forever she will remember, it was on that fateful victorious day that I lost my lock. Terrible. Narrator is warning. Thus, after the game is won, they all sit down for coffee. Coffee is the most loved drink in those days. Coffee that came from Latin America or Asia. From faraway lands, the coffee seeds were brought and they were roasted and ground and boiled, and people drank this coffee with relish. That is described in great detail in epic style. And of course, all that description is reminiscent of the colonial period at that time. And it is served, coffee is served on varnished tables, where silver lamps with flames to heat the coffee are being lit. The steaming coffee is poured from silver spouts into coffee cups made of China's earth. Chinese porcelain cups, that is the meaning. They made coffee and poured it into porcelain cups. If you say it in prose, this is how you say it. But this is mock epic. At this time, the Sylphs are hovering around Belinda. Some of them fanned the fuming liquor so that it won't scald her tongue. Her tongue should not get scalded, so they are fanning the fuming liquid. Some spread their wings on their lap, on her lap, to protect her rich brocade from spilt coffee. Even if she is spilling some coffee, nothing should stain her brocade. Even if her honor is stained, it's okay, but brocade should not be stained. Amazing. I love this. Look at this. That description. For lo, the board with cups and spoons is crowned. The berries crackle. Coffee berries are being roasted. That is the meaning. The berries crackle and the mill turns round. The grinding mill. They have a small grinding machine that is turning round. On shining altars of Japan they race. the silver lamp. There is some Japanese tray or stand or something there. On that Japanese stand, one silver lamp is there. It is using the silver lamp that they are going to boil coffee. That is the meaning. Array, this is so much descriptive. It is unnecessarily expanded, this description. On shining altars of Japan, they raise the silver lamp. The fiery spirits blaze. And then when coffee has boiled, from silver spouts, the grateful liquors glide. They are pouring coffee from silver jugs. From the spout of the jug, the grateful liquors glide. The coffee is gratefully gliding through the spout into the cup. But he won't say cup. This is mock epic Pope's style. So using circumlocution, he says, instead of saying C-U-P, 3 words, 3 letters, he says, while China's earth receives the smoking tide. Oh, China's earth. That means porcelain. Porcelain cup is receiving the smoking tide. That means like a tide, coffee is being poured into the cup. And it is also smoking because it is hot. Oh my God. At once they gratify their scent and taste. As soon as you drink it, both your scent and taste are both gratified. And frequent cups prolong the rich repast. They are drinking frequently from the cup. Many cups everybody is drinking. Frequent cups give them, prolong their refreshment. Repast means refreshment. All these are epic words. You find them in Paradise Lost also. Actually, you should listen to Paradise Lost videos and Rape of the Lock videos simultaneously, one after the other. Straight hover round the fair, her airy band. Around Belinda, the fair woman, the pretty woman, the airy band of sylphs are hovering. Some she sipped, some as she sipped, the fuming liquor fanned. As she sipped, they came and fanned the fuming liquor, so that she won't scald her tongue. Some over her lap their careful plumes displayed. Some of them spread out their wings on her lap like napkins. They spread their wings on her expensive gown, on her expensive dress, apprehensively to protect it from spilling coffee, trembling apprehensively and conscious of the rich brocade. Coffee, next stanza it is. Coffee, which makes the politician wise and see through all things with his half-shut eyes. Sent up vapors to the baron's brain. Coffee is a very special drink. It makes politicians wise, it seems. Even when politicians' eyes are half shut, they see everything. Because of coffee, that makes their brain sharp. That coffee sent up vapors to the Baron's brain. Baron is looking at Belinda's lock and he wants it. He is making new stratagems. He is making new plans. The radiant lock to gain. To get the radiant lock, he is making some new plans. Ah, seize, rash youth, the narrator is saying. The poet is saying, ah, stop, rash youth. Desist, it's too late. This is like the narrator warned Eve before she ate the fruit. This is very, very similar to Paradise Lost. Ah, seize, rash youth, desist, it's too late. Fear the just gods and think of Scylla's fate. The Baron is going to cut the lock of hair and our narrator is comparing it to Scylla's fate. Scylla was a mythical woman. She was changed into a bird and she had to fly in the air. Why? Because she cut her father Nissus's lock of hair. Scylla cut her father's hair and she was punished by being turned into a bird. So, seize, rash youth, desist. Desist means refrain from it, stop it. Desist before it's too late. Fear the just gods and think of Scylla's fate. Changed to a bird and sent to flit in air, she dearly pays for Nissus's injured hair. For injuring Nissus's hair, she dearly paid. Did you understand? She had to be changed into a bird. Beware, something will happen to you also, Baron. The narrator is warning. The vapors of the coffee sent up to the brain of the Baron new tactics to steal Belinda's lock. Addressing him as rash youth, the narrator warns the Baron, reminding him of Scylla's fate. Nisus was the king of Megara. He had a purple lock of hair because of his magical power, which gained him prolonged possession of his kingdom if preserved. His lock had to be preserved. But the king of Minos surrounded Megara, and Scylla, his daughter, fell in love with the king of Minos, betrayed her city by cutting off the purple lock. Nisus turned her into a sea eagle, and Nisus himself turned into a sea eagle, and Scylla turned into a sea bird, which constantly got chased by the sea eagle. All these warnings he is being given, the Baron, but the warnings had no use. If humans decide to make mischief, they easily find a way to carry out that instead. When they want mischief, they do it. That is what the narrator says. But when to mischief mortals bend their will, how soon they find fit instruments of ill. When mortals have made up their minds to do some mischief, how easily they find the suitable agent to carry out their evil schemes. Just then, at that moment, Clarissa, one of the ladies accompanying Belinda, just then Clarissa drew with tempting grace a two-edged weapon from her shining case. Wow, it is going to happen. She is drawing a weapon, a two-edged weapon. That is nothing but the scissors. In epic times of the past, in classical times, there were no scissors. So, Pope is saying the two-edged weapon she took from her shining case. So, ladies in romance assist their knight. In this manner, ladies in romance assist their knight. In romance means in chivalric romances. They assist their knight. What do ladies do in chivalric romances? Present the spear and arm him for the fight. These ladies present spears and arm their loved ones for the fight. And the hero will take the gift with reverence. He takes the gift with reverence and extends the little engine on his fingers' ends. Our Baron is taking the weapon with reverence, and he is turning the little engine or the scissors on his fingers' ends. Just behind Belinda's neck he spread. You will think he is going to kill her. This just behind Belinda's neck he spread. And over the fragrant steams she bends, as over the fragrant steams she bends her head. Belinda is bending her head over the coffee. At that time, he spread the spears or the shears or the scissors behind her neck. What happens? 1,000 wings by turns blow back the hair. 1,000 wings must be 500 sylphs, right? All the sylphs come and by turns they blow back the hair because they want to protect the hair. They can't let it be cut. And thrice they twitched the diamond in her ear to make her pay attention, to make her attentive. They twitched the diamond in her ear. Thrice she looked back. She looked at who is touching my diamond. She looked back and thrice the foe drew near. The enemy is now drawing near. She is looking back, but she doesn't see what is happening. Just in that instant, anxious Ariel sought the close recesses of the virgin's thought. Just at that instant, at that time, anxiously, Ariel peeped into her heart. He wanted to know, he was curious to know about her secrets. So he looked at the innermost recesses of the virgin's thoughts. Alas, he found it. He found that there is no use trying to save her. As on the nosegay in her breast reclined, he watched the ideas rising in her mind. There was a bunch of flowers on her breast. And as they reclined, he saw that there are some thoughts in her mind, ideas. Sudden he viewed, in spite of all her art, in spite of all her pretension, that she is not in love. Suddenly he saw that in spite of all her art, an earthly lover lurking in her heart. He saw that there is an earthly lover lurking in her heart. This is the Baron, the earthly lover. Amazed, confused, he found his power expired. He is amazed. What? Surprised. He's confused. What should I do? Should I save her from the Baron, or should I let the Baron take her? He is confused. His powers are now expired. He doesn't have any more powers. Resigned to fate, and with a sigh retired. In whatever, what is it called? Let whatever happen, whatever has to happen, let it happen. Jo hona hai hone do. Whatever may, ke sara sara, yeah. Ke sara sara, whatever will be, will be. That is what I was trying to say. Whatever will be, will be. He resigned to fate, and with a sigh retired. So what happened at this time? What I was saying is, just then Clarissa drew a two-edged weapon, scissors, and like a lady who arms her knight in a romance, she gave it to the Baron. The Baron positions it behind Belinda's neck. 1,000 sylphs, probably 500, rushed to protect her hair, and they twitched the diamond in her ear. She turned back, but the enemy only came closer. Anxious Ariel now looks into her heart and finds that the maiden has an earthly lover. Nobody can protect her. And now the Baron opens the scissor blades to snip off the knock. Dun, dun, dun. Are you ready for the fatal moment? The peer now spreads the glittering forfex wide. Forfex is scissors. To enclose the lock, now joins it to divide. He joins the two arms of the scissors to divide the lock. Even then, before the fatal engine closed, before the dreadful instrument closed upon the lock, even before that, a wretched sylph too fondly interposed. Very lovingly, a wretched sylph came and intervened. Fate urged the shears and cut the sylph in twain. The sylph, poor thing, got cut into two. Hey, don't worry, but airy substance soon unites again. The sylph is made of airy substance, so the sylph united again. The meeting points, the sacred hair dissever from the fair head forever and forever. The scissors dissevered or severed the lock from the hair forever and forever. And Belinda is angry. She has come to realize what has happened. Then flashed the living lightning from her eyes. Whoa, what a fearsome picture. Then flashed the living lightning from her eyes. She is burning with indignation and anger. Her eyes flashed forth fire, and screams of horror rend the affrighted skies. This is like how the whole earth trembled when Eve ate the fruit. Screams of horror rend the affrighted skies. The entire universe or the skies was torn apart with her shrieks. Not louder shrieks to pitying heaven are cast when husbands or when lapdogs breathe their last. Women never cry worse cries, even when husbands die or lapdogs die. Even then, they don't cry so much. Or when rich china vessels fallen from high, in glittering dust and painted fragments lie. When china vessels fall and crash and break also, women don't cry so much. Belinda cried because her favorite lock is cut. A sylph at this time is seen fondly fluttering around. Look at the sylph here. Fondly fluttering around, interposed and got cut into half. But since it was airy substance, it reunites again. The lock of Belinda's hair is severed from her head forever. The meeting points, the sacred hair dissevered. She gives out a scream of horror. Women may not scream thus, even if their husbands or lapdogs die, or if their Chinese vases fall. Such a big tragedy. Baron is happy. The Baron is happy. What is he saying? Let wreaths of triumph now my temples twine. That means, let me be honored by laurels like in Olympics, etc. Because I have done such a big feat, F-E-A-T, feat. The glorious prize is mine, cried the Baron. He is victorious. He is crying out. He asserts that his honor, name, and praise shall live as long as fish swim in streams, as long as birds are excited in flying, as long as beautiful British ladies enjoy carriage rides, as long as people read Bacon's New Atlantis, as long as ladies have visitors while they are in bed. As long as social gatherings happen in the light of wax candles, and as long as ladies accept treats or fix secret appointments with lovers. That is also an epic style. One after the other, long list of things, and his honor, name, and praise will live that long. The narrator now ponders on how little chance the lock of hair had with steel scissors. This is also epic style. The narrator is saying, yeah, the steel scissors are so powerful. The lock of hair had no chance to survive. It is destiny. This is epic style. So that brings us to the end of Canto 3. Now let us move on into Canto 4. Are you ready? Canto 4. Ta-dang! But anxious cares the pensive nymphs oppressed, and secret passions labored in her breast. The great anxiety of having lost her hair or lock oppressed the pensive nymph. She is now melancholic. There was a conflict of secret passions in her heart. Not youthful kings in battle seized alive, nor scornful virgins who their charms survive, nor ardent lovers robbed of all their bliss, nor ancient ladies when refused a kiss, not tyrants' fears that unrepenting die, not Cynthia when her mantle spinned awry, ever felt such a rage. All these people feel rage when youthful kings are defeated in battle, when scornful virgins who are approached by lovers feel angry, when ardent lovers are robbed of their bliss. None of them will feel so angry. None of them ever felt such rage, resentment, and despair as thou, sad virgin, for thy ravished hair. It is this virgin who is feeling the most pain and anger for that sad moment. At that sad moment, what did the Sylphs do? The Sylphs were creating so much commotion before, but they could do nothing. They are so useless. When the Sylphs withdrew and Ariel weeping from Belinda flew, nobody could do anything. They are all retreating. Umbriel, another sprite is there. A dusky, melancholy sprite. He's a dark, melancholy sprite. As ever sullied the fair face of light. He never came in front of light. He is such a melancholy sprite. What did he do? Down to the central earth, his proper scene, repaired. Repaired means he went. He went to the center of the earth. Actually, center of the spleen is in your belly. It is a part of human body. It is in your belly. Spleen is that part of the body that purifies blood and balances blood fluids. It was believed that spleen is the site of bad temper and melancholy or moodiness or depression. So he goes to the cave of spleen. The Umbriel, the dusky sprite, is going to the cave of spleen. Belinda is extremely perturbed, but she is confused. She feels worse than young kings taken alive, or old maids who continue to be virgins, or ardent lovers, or older ladies who refuse a kiss, etc. She is even more troubled than all these people. And when nobody else can protect her, Umbriel is going to the cave of spleen. What is Umbriel doing? Swift on his sooty pinions flits the gnome. Umbriel is a gnome, and on his sooty pinions, sooty wings, he is dirty or black. And in a vapor reached the dismal dome. He is reaching the cave of spleen. No cheerful breeze this sullen region knows. The dreaded east is all the wind that blows. The cold east wind is blowing in the cave of spleen. Here in a grotto, grotto means cave, sheltered close from air and screened in shades from day's detested glare. She sighs forever on her pensive bed. It is actually the queen of spleen who is sighing. But it is also evoking our Belinda sighing in her bed. She is not lying in bed now. She is with the Hampton Court people. She sighs forever on her pensive bed, the queen of spleen. Pain at her side and megrim at her head. Beside her is pain. Megrim means migraine or headache. The spirit that causes headache is also beside her. 2 handmaids wait the throne. Beside the queen, there are 2 handmaids, alike in place, but differing far in figure and in face. They are different in looks and figure. Here stood ill nature. There is one of the 2 handmaids is called ill nature. Here stood ill nature like an ancient maid, her wrinkled form in black and white arrayed. Ill nature is an old maid. She is standing in black and white with store of prayers for mornings, nights and noons. Her hand is filled, her bosom with lampoons. There are lampoons. Lampoons means satires or complaints or, mockery, abuses, all that. Her bosom is filled with. Her hand is filled with prayers for mornings, nights and noons. The other handmaiden is affectation. Their affectation with a sickly mane. Sickly mane means sickly appearance. Shows in her cheek the roses of 18. Ill nature is like an old maid. Affectation is old but appears to be only 18-year-old. She is affectation. Affectation means pretension. Practiced to lisp and hang the head aside. Very innocently, very youthfully, she is hanging the head and lisping. Feigns into airs, again pretentious. To get attention, she is fainting and languishing with pride. On the rich quilt, sings with becoming woe. There is a rich quilt there, and into the quilt she is sinking in, lying down there, wrapped in a gown for sickness and for show. She is wearing a rich gown. And when she is ill, she is wearing a rich gown, because when people come, it will show her sickness as well as it will show off that she has all these beautiful gowns. The fair ones feel such maladies as these. The women feel such diseases. When they want to show off, they will fall ill. When each new night dress gives a new disease. Every time they buy a new night dress, they will get some disease and they will lie in bed so that people will see their dress. Wow. Pope. So right then Umbriel, a dusky, melancholy sprite, went down to the gloomy cave of spleen, where the goddess of spleen was lying down of a migraine. She is attended by ill nature and affectation. Ill nature is an elderly virgin. Affectation is dressed up to look young. The narrator says beautiful women are subject to such sickness so that they can show off their gown when someone visits. Now the description of the palace of the cave of spleen. A constant vapor over the palace flies, strange phantoms rising as the mists arise, dreadful as hermits' dreams in haunted shades, or bright as visions of expiring maids. This is a dismal place. The cave of spleen. A cloud of mist is hanging over this cave constantly. And the forms that were seen in the mist were like evil forms, now glaring fiends and snakes on rolling spires, pale spectres, gaping tombs and purple fires. All these he is seeing. Now lakes of liquid gold, Elysian scenes, and crystal domes and angels in machines. All these are being seen. Unnumbered throngs on every side are seen. There are crowds of people, ridiculous, mad people are there, of bodies changed into various forms by spleen. All of them are suffering from disorders of the spleen. Here, living teapots stand, one arm held out, one bent. One woman is thinking that she is a living teapot. One mad woman, because of problems of spleen, she is standing like a teapot. One arm is held out like the spout, one bent like the handle. A pipkin is also there. Pipkin is an earthen pot. One woman thinks she is a pipkin. Like Homer's tripod walks. She is walking like a tripod. And all these are imaginations that people are, fancies that people are getting because of spleen disorders. Here sighs a jar and there a goose pie talks. Somebody is thinking she is a goose pie, pie made of goose meat. Men prove with child. There are also men who think that they are with child, that they are pregnant, as powerful fancy works. And maids turned bottles call aloud for corks. Some maids have become bottles. They are thinking they are bottles and they are calling out for their corks. So many mad people and their fancies. All this is making fun of the Augustan society, of course. Through all these people, safe passed the norm through this fantastic band. A branch of healing spleenwort in his hand. He is carrying a branch of spleenwort plant. It is a plant that will heal disorders of the spleen. Then thus addressed the power. Now the gnome Umbriel is now addressing the queen of spleen. The palace of spleen is a dismal dome and it has a nightmarish setting with strange phantoms, snakes on rolling spires, etc. The cave further have many other bodies wrapped in the powers of the spleen. Many people are thinking strange things because of the powers of the spleen. Some are thinking they are living teapots, some are thinking they are pipkin, some are thinking they are jars or pies. Umbriel reaches the depth of the cave safely, holding a branch of healing spleenwort. Hail, wayward queen. Wayward means capricious. She is also suffering from spleen disorder. So, hail, wayward queen, who ruled the sex to 50 from 15. From 15-year-old girls to 50-year-old women, spleen is ruling. That means all these women have spleen problems. Parent of vapors and female wit. Vapors means melancholy. This queen is the parent of vapors and female wit who give the hysteric or poetic fit. Women get hysteric fit or poetic fit, etc. because of this spleen. On various tempers, act by various ways. Some take physic. Physic means medicine. Others scribble plays. Some others write worthless plays, scribble plays. Others take medicine, all because of spleen. Who cause the proud their visits to delay. Some women, because of spleen, because of their temper, will deliberately delay their visits to other people and send the godly in a pet to pray. Pet means fit. In a fit, the godly people, religious people, start to pray because of spleen. And he is telling the goddess about Belinda. A nymph there is that all thy power disdains. Belinda is not melancholic. Belinda disdains thy power. She is not melancholic. She is very cheerful. And thousands more in equal mirth maintains. She has a big group of friends who are also happy. But oh, if ever thy gnome could spoil a grace or raise a pimple on a beauteous face, like citron waters, matron's cheeks inflame or change complexions at a losing game. Umbriel is listing out all the things he is capable of doing. He has done all these things. He has caused trouble to a lot of people. He has raised, at first he says he has spoiled a grace or beauty. He has caused pimples on beautiful faces. He has brought blushes on matron's cheeks because of lemon waters. He has changed people's complexions because they lost their game. If ever with airy horns I planted heads. Umbriel has also planted horns on husbands' heads and made them think that they are cuckolds, that their wives are cheating them. Umbriel has rumpled petticoats or tumbled beds to create people, he rumpled beds of women so that their husbands will think they are having sex with other men, or caused suspicion when no soul was rude or immoral or indecent. Then Umbriel caused suspicion unnecessarily. Or ever to costive lapdog gave disease, which not the tears of brightest eyes could cease. He gave lapdogs of ladies constipation disease, and no amount of crying by the lady would cure it. If I have done all these things and served you, Queen of Spleen, then you hear me out. Help me now. Touch Belinda with chagrin. Chagrin means melancholy. Touch Belinda with chagrin. That single act gives half the world the spleen. Because it is good for you, Queen of Spleen, if you bring melancholy to Belinda. Because if she is melancholic, then half the world will be melancholic. All the people who love her will become sad. So that is the advantage for the Queen of Spleen. So please give Belinda some melancholy. The goddess with a discontented air. The goddess is only happy to help, I suppose. But because she is spleen, because she is melancholic, she can't show enthusiasm. Shows she is pretending to be discontented. The goddess with a discontented air seems to reject him, though she grants his prayer. She grants his prayer, but appears to be rejecting him. A wondrous bag with both her hands she binds, like that where once Ulysses held the winds. She gave him a bag of sighs and tears and all that, like once Ulysses got. Ulysses was traveling everywhere, and all the bad winds and tempests were all put into a bag by the goddess, and Ulysses was given this bag. Ulysses had kept all the adverse winds in that bag given to him by the goddess. I don't remember which goddess. And at the end, somebody accidentally opened that bag, and Ulysses and his men were cast in the sea. That is the mythology. So like that, a bag she gives to the nymph. Umbriel now lists down his mischievous acts. All these mischievous acts he has done. So he wants the Queen of Spleen to now turn to Belinda and give her melancholy, chagrin. Even though the queen seems to reject his plea, she actually grants him the wish. A wondrous bag with both her hands she binds, like that where Ulysses once held the winds. There she collects the foes of female lungs, sighs, sobs and passions, and the war of tongues. All the fighting, sighing, sobbing, everything she put in the bag. A vial next she fills with fainting fears, soft sorrows, melting griefs and flowing tears. A small flask or vial also she gives with melting griefs, flowing tears, etc. The gnome Umbriel spreads his black wings and flies up to the earth again. He's happy, and he found Belinda sunk in the arms of her friend Thalestris. Belinda is hugging Thalestris and crying, and Umbriel poured all the furies over their heads. She burnt in the passion of anger, and her friend Thalestris supports her and asks if it was for this that Belinda took all the efforts to neatly pin and curl her hair with torturing irons, fillets straining the head, and double loads of lead. Is it for this that you nurtured your lock so much so that somebody can cut it? She is lamenting. Thalestris is lamenting and she is angry. Sunk in Thalestris' arms, the nymph he found, her eyes dejected and her hair unbound. She is now like in an epic, the description of grief. like Kaikeyi's grief in Ramayana. Full over their heads the swelling bag he rent, and all the furies issued at the vent. Vent means the opening of the bag. Belinda burns with more than moral ire. It is not only, mortal ire. It is not only human anger, more than that. And fierce Thalestris fans the rising fire. She is adding fuel to the fire. Oh, wretched maid, she spreads her hands and cried. While Hampton's echoes, wretched maid, replied. While Thalestris is saying this, Hampton is echoing it back. Was it for this you took such constant care, the bodkin, comb and essence to prepare? Why did you prepare so much so that your hair can be cut? You should take revenge. For this your locks in paper durance bound. She had bound her locks in paper. For this with torturing irons wreathed around. For this with fillets strained your tender head. Fillet is headband. And bravely bore the double loads of lead. She wore lead fasteners on her hair. Gods! She is invoking the gods. Gods, shall the ravisher display your hair? Thalestris is saying, oh my God, do you think the ravisher, the man who thieved your lock, do you think he will display your hair to everyone? While the fops envy and ladies stare, will he show it to everyone? What a shame it will be. Honor forbid. Everybody will gossip. Everybody will laugh at you. Honor forbid, at whose unrivaled shrine, at the shrine of honor, all of us women have resigned or sacrificed ease, pleasure, virtue. All our sex resign. Honor, let honor save us. If that lock of hair is displayed, it will be dishonorable. Let honor save us. We have served honor so long with sacrifice of ease or comfort or pleasure or virtue. Methinks already I your tears survey. Now that the bag of tears are size and flask of tears are emptied over her head, Thalestris can see the tears coming. So Thalestris is saying, methinks already I your tears survey. Already hear the horrid things they say. They are going to say horrid things about you. Already see you a degraded toast. Very vain, cruel men will raise a toast to you, degrade you. Here is to Belinda, whose hair has been cut. They will put you to shame, and all your honor in a whisper lost. All your honor will be lost in their whispers or gossips. How shall I then your helpless fame defend? Your fame will be helpless. How will I defend your fame? Look at the next line. 'Twill then be infamy to seem your friend. It will be shame for you to be your friend at that time. So she is, so much loyalty she has, Thalestris. Thalestris is saying, when all this happens to you, then it will be a shame for me to be your friend. Now, and shall this prize, the inestimable prize, exposed through crystal to the gazing eyes. The worst thing will be if the baron puts this lock of hair in a ring. That was the most common practice in those days. The baron might put the lock of hair in a ring. And heightened by the diamond's circling rays. There will be diamond also in the ring. The diamond will shine on the hair. Sooner shall grass, and she is now so hysterical. Sooner shall grass in Hyde Park Circus grow, and wits take lodgings in the sound of bow. Sooner let earth, air, sea to chaos fall. Men, monkeys, lapdogs, parrots perish all. Let all these things happen, but your honor should not go. Your honor should not be sacrificed. She is saying, because if the baron puts the lock of hair in the eyes of insulting people, that will be the worst. Thalestris is asking, was all this pain endured so that a young ravisher could steal her hair? Belinda's reputation will be ruined. She is lamenting. She is also worrying her own reputation of being a friend to her. Finally, she fears that the Baron would display the strand of hair in a crystal ring. That will be a lot of shame for Belinda. Thalestris then approaches her beau, her fiancé. Sir Plume, her fiancé, is there. He is a very cowardly, good-for-nothing fellow. And Thalestris asks Sir Plume to claim the lock. Sir Plume possesses a fancy snuff box. And he is always, using snuff from that box. And he could also control his clouded cane. It is made, special cane, a spotted cane. Also, that was his special accessory. He confronts the Baron. Sir Plume confronts the Baron. This is all he says. A lot of swear words he says. My God, why, what the devil, zounds, damn the lock. For God, you must be civil, plague on it. 'Tis past a jest, nay, prithee pox. Give her the hair, he spoke, and wrapped his box. He is saying a long list of swear words, and he is hitting his box. Just 3-4 lines, and he is hitting his box. The Baron doesn't care. The Baron does not pay any attention. The Baron is not going to return the hair. It grieves me much, replied the peer again. Who speaks so well should ever speak in vain. Sir Plume, you speak very well, but it is very unhappy to see that you are just wasting your words. You are speaking in vain. But by this lock, this sacred lock, I swear. He is swearing by the lock, which never more shall join its parted hair. He is not going to give it back to her. Which never more its honors shall renew. No more will it be honorable, this lock of hair, clipped from the lovely head where lately it grew. That while my nostrils draw the vital air, in an epic, such cheap words will not be used. It is mock epic. That while my nostrils draw the vital air, this hand which won it shall forever wear. He is showing his own hand which cut the lock, and he is saying this hand which won the lock will forever wear the lock. He spoke, and speaking in proud triumph spread the long contended honors of her head. He is speaking thus. He is saying he is not going to give it. And the long contended honors means the lock. He proudly displayed the lock of hair. That is the meaning. But Umbriel, hateful gnome, forbears not so. Umbriel is not going to let the matter rest like that. He breaks the vial whence the sorrows flow. At first he only emptied the bag of sighs. Now he is emptying the flask or vial. Then see the nymph in beauteous grief appears. Her eyes half languishing, half drowned in tears. She is now crying. On her heaved bosom hung her drooping head, which with a sigh she raised, and thus she said, Forever cursed be this detested day, which snatched my best, my favourite curl away. Happy, 10 times happy had I been, if Hampton court these eyes had never seen. Yet am I not the first mistaken maid, by love of courts to numerous ills betrayed. Oh, had I rather unadmired remained. She is cursing her fate. She is saying, if only I had never come to Hampton court. If I did not give in to my thoughts, if I had only stayed at home. She is crying. She is lamenting her destiny, her fate, that she has lost her favorite lock. She says, I would have been so much happier if I had not come here. Yet am I not the first mistaken maid. I am not the first woman to go astray, to be betrayed by ills. Oh, had I rather unadmired remained. If only I had remained unadmired in some solitary island, some lone isle, or some distant northern land, where a gilded chariot was never seen, where the gilded chariot never marks the way, where all these luxuries are not there, where none learn ombre, nobody plays ombre, none ever taste bohe. Bohe means tea, black tea. There kept my charms concealed from mortal eye. There I would have hidden from all the sight of men, like roses that in deserts bloom and die. I did not want to be in this company. I should have been like a rose in a desert. I should have stayed away from all these people, unseen and unenjoyed. What moved my mind with youthful lords to roam? I don't know what power overcame me and made me move in this society of young men. Oh, had I stayed and said my prayers at home. I should have just stayed at home. 'Twas this the morning omens seemed to tell. And then she suddenly recollects. Yeah, this is what I saw in my morning dream. Thrice from my trembling hand the patchbox fell. The tottering china shook without a wind. Nay, Paul sat mute. Paul means the parrot. Sat mute, and shock was most unkind. A sylph too warned me of the threats of fate in mystic visions, now believed too late. At first I did not realize, I did not believe, now it is too late. See the poor remnants of these slighted hairs. My hair is now insulted, slighted. So see the poor remains of my hair. My hands shall rend what even thy rapine spares. What your weapon has spared, I will tear apart. She is saying, I will myself tear apart what your robbery has spared. Rapine means robbery. These into sable ringlets taught to break. 2 black ringlets they were, my hair. Once gave new beauties to the snowy neck. The sister lock. Now 1 lock is gone, only sister lock is there. The sister lock now sits uncouth alone. She's talking about the other lock of hair. And in its fellow's fate foresees its own. The sister lock is now thinking that it will also be cut one day. Uncurled it hangs. The fatal shears demands, cut me also, the other lock is saying. And tempts one more thy sacrilegious hands. The sacrilegious or blasphemous hands of the baron are being tempted by this remaining lock. Oh, hadst thou, cruel, been content to seize hairs less in sight or any hairs but these. Why couldn't you have cut any other hair that nobody will see? Why did you cut this hair that is in everybody's sight? My favorite lock, why did you cut? See, we are not feeling any sympathy for her. This message, this lamentation is supposed to evoke our sympathy, but it is only showing her vanity. We don't feel much for Belinda. But the baron refuses to give back the lock and declares that it will never rejoin the hair of the head where it grew. And he says he's going to wear it forever in his ring. And Umbriel couldn't bear it anymore. He breaks open the vial of sorrows and tears. Bursting into tears, Belinda is railing at the baron. And she begins to list the omens that she saw. She realizes it's too late. And she wishes that the baron had taken any other hair strands than these 2 girls. That brings us to the end of Canto 4. Now Canto 5 in another video. Thank you.